Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. Let me introduce to you in the top right, the Polish Terran. In the blue, we have Spirit. Up against one of the most dramatic Zergs out there, willing to throw as many Zerglings and Banelings as it takes at the problem, and not care what the number is at the end of the day. At the end of all things, it is Ragnarok, the Korean Zerg player. A best of 3 TVZ from the Masters Coliseum. Well, Grandmasters Coliseum, but I think we hit a character limit on that one. Another great matchup between some of the most... I don't know if up and coming is really the right terminology, but already here, at the very least, these top-tier players. I'm interested to see something a little bit less perfect and a little bit more scrappy. Just like my commentary, my segues into saying like and subscribe. Jimmy, what are we at? 1,125 likes. If we get that many, I'll cast another series, and I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for being here. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get a little bit better. This is about as macro as it gets, as it looks like a command center first into 3 CC for Spirit with Hellions behind that double gas. Ragnarok, of course, hanging out, sees it. Can't help but do so, as he realized there's not going to be even a Marine early, so the Overlord can literally just sit above the base. But Spirit's so confident in his build, not even attempting to hide it. Ragnarok has 3 bases himself. Plenty of queens. The creep spread has begun, so we're just going to be skipping past any sort of early aggression and sprinting into the more macro-based play. Banshee on the way. Still, nothing even resembling an anti-air unit out of Spirit. We're 4 minutes in. Ragnarok just part of the scenery at this point. That is, of course, Hellions and Banshees doesn't really narrow down the Terran build order spectrum, as Hellion barracks into Hellion Banshee covers about 40% of all games in Terran versus Zerg since 2010. So, finally, the first Marine is coming out. The Overlord will have to move on with its life if it wants to keep it. A quick lair out of Ragnarok. No Roach Warren. Maybe he starts a Baneling nest momentarily, but he's going to be opting for Mutas? How many gases? Already getting a 4th here, so leaning towards the Muta. He doesn't have a Roach Warren. I guess a Nidus Worm is on the table, but it looks like he wants to rush into the Mutalisks, which is usually a bit of a Muta risk. But here, Spirit only has 1 barracks to start. Ragnarok actually saw how heavy he was on the tech. Wow, the forward scouting depot, a chew toy for any Zerglings that might try to counterattack but are easily distracted, which is, you know, most of them. 18 lings on the way, and indeed, Ragnarok feeling inspired. Mutalisks are the choice. As the Hellions come in, the Queens say, "Get off my creep." And the Hellions, for now, will abide by their wishes. The first drone, first blood, charbroiled a bit with those Hellions, but Banshee's pre-cloak. Maybe a little early on that, as they'll be almost out of energy by the time they get to Ragnarok's side of the map, but they will get there. I'll see if they can... Oh! And they get... I have no idea what that drone was out there, but the drone a little bit off-center, and that means the 4th base likely would have been cancelled anyways, but the Queens headed in towards the main. Just now adding on the double Evo chamber. Already double engineering bank for Spirit. Transfuse saves the Queen. So far, both players very, very careful with their units. But that will change soon. 2 drones. The only kills on the tally so far. 5 barracks up and running. Ooh. 7 Mutalisks on the way. So, the reason the Mutalisk is not often used nowadays is just simply it doesn't have the time to get the economic damage. You can't necessarily force the Terran player back to their base before they can counterattack you. As the best defense against Mutas is a good offense. They don't have much of a window with which to fly through and terrorize the populace against your average Terran build. And that is still true here. As 1-1 is finishing up, combat shield, stim, even some turrets on the way. I'm not sure if he spotted it. Well, the Banshees are dead. So I have some, I'll give you 2 guesses as to how they died. And no, it wasn't existential dread. So that narrows it down to the Mutas. So the turrets will be done, but he does deal with the Banshee, so he can focus on that. Mutas flying in towards the main. Missile turret taking some bites. 1 Muta down. Tries to kill the tank. Armory completed now. Siege tank taken out as the Mutas are kind of chased into the back corner here. And so far, not particularly much damage. They're still flying around the edges of the problem. Gonna work on the Chew Toy Depot. I didn't think it was for Mutas mostly, but they're as easily distracted, perhaps more so than any other Zerg unit. Spirit has a few Hellbats with the army. He maintained the Hellions from earlier, didn't throw them away, and now has an extra buffer, but cutting off some of the reinforcements. Chew Toy might come in use here. Zerglings trying to cut off the reinforcements. Siege tank, bunker. A nice little maze there for Spirit. And now the big counterattack. Baneling speed is completed, but 1-1 is not. As 8.5 minutes in, both players approaching maxing out, but Ragnarok has no way to deal with this Terran army easily until that 1-1 finishes. The Mutas have been zoned out at every turn. They've gotten quite a scenic tour of the map so far, but that is about it in terms of meaningful damage. 1-1's done now. The Mutas still being incredibly annoying. Those flying bats. Well, those are just regular bats. I guess besides the baseball variety. Spirit takes out 2 bases. Ragnarok forced to expand to the side. The Marines are spread pretty thin here. Now the Zerglings and the Banelings. Oh, takes out the Siege tank, which is the major threat to the Banelings as they roll through. Marines stimming back. So far, minimal losses. Name of the game, but that they're starting to mount as many of the Marines are leading the Zerglings and the Banelings over to the left side. Take out a few dozen Lings with them, but Spirit will be cleaned up. He takes out 2 bases, but the Mutalist count is maintained. He's only lost 2 Mutas. It's starting to grow. 3 Mutas. 14 of them done. I'd say 15 to 20 is that critical mass of Mutalists. When you can one-shot Widow Mines, Medivacs, you can fight Marines in near equal numbers. Not that you necessarily want to, but once you get around 20 Mutas, give or take, that it's only 40 of your army supply, and essentially they must respect them. There is no choice. They are an incredibly dangerous force. And a Thor is here to deal with them. The 4th command center yet again delayed for Spirit. He thought he built in a safe location, but nothing is safe without missile turrets around it right now. Spirit sending out a drop. The Mutas in Lings on the left side of the map as Spirit presses forward. Takes out 1 queen here on Royal Blood, spilling it. Thor moves back. 4th command center is completed. The Mutas trying to take it down. Magic boxing against the splash damage of those Thors, but Ragnarok now suffering a little from the usual issue with Muta-ling Baneling. The lack of long-term cost efficiency. Infestation Pit is just now on the way. That means the Hive is on the docket. There's no 3-3 for Spirit, but more Queens gunned down. He's already taken out the base of the center, the right, and now is pressing in towards the 4th. Now the 3rd, after Spirit worked on the other side. Ragnarok has yet to really take a decisive fight against this, though he is maxed out. He was able to chase off the 1st army, but Spirit keeps achieving meaningful objectives here. Rarely do we see such an objective-based game, where Spirit is trying to cut off all the Zerg bases and force Ragnarok into a difficult fight, whereas Ragnarok is trying to find that fight as cost-efficiently as possible. Thor goes down. It's just Marines left to contest the Mutalists. Siege tank as well. Marine splits are good, but they're not good enough to stop the Zerg. The Muta Ling, Bane wipes the field, and Ragnarok off to a 40 supply lead after it. He's got 20 Mutas. Still, that well-entrenched bunker. Mutas could probably take it out. 3-3 starts, but Hive on the way for Ragnarok. He's not going to be too far behind on the upgrades if we even get that far. The Zerglings and Banelings are going to have a much tougher time in breaking Spirit's position, but he's not even trying to send him across right now. Maybe a bit of a mistake. I don't think he realizes the significant army supply lead he has at the moment. After crushing that army on the field, Ragnarok content to re-expand to bases 4 and 5, as well as get the Hive Tech unlocked. Still working on the add-ons inside the main. Spirit has to scramble. Very, very reminiscent of a Wings of Liberty or even Heart of the Swarm game thus far. No Widow Mines being used yet. Just Muta, Ling, Baneling against Marines and Thors, but the Mutas just fly over the Marines, taking out a few of them in the process, targeting down the tanks. Loses a handful of Mutas, assuming you can fit like 3 or 4 Mutas in your hand, and big hands. But the flock continues. So far, they've really added on a lot of meaningful kills, helping to dismantle the siege tank lines, pick off isolated Marines, and Spirit is struggling. He's going to have 3-3 done, though. Ragnarok is trying to kind of switch into Hydras. Has plenty of Banelings. He has 50 Banelings right now. Ragnarok, a big Baneling enthusiast. Marines on the chase. Send to the drop. Opposite side. Lings and Banes angling towards the 4th. Multiple missile turrets. Muta's just straight up takeout. He's got a mobile defense squad. Boosts in, drops a Thor down. The closest thing he'll get to a turret at this rate. Siege tank overrun. Banelings rolling in. Planetary obliterating. And Ragnarok takes another victory as he works his way up the tech tree. The only concerning part for Ragnarok is his lack of late-game tech. He doesn't have Lurkers. He doesn't have Vipers. No Broodlords. Doesn't even start Adrenal Glands at the moment. He's still working with the Mutas. He's one particularly costly fight away from Spirit having the critical mass of Marines and tanks to move their way across the map. Well, Mutas still flocking. He's maintained 20. Lurker Den is now on the way. But Spirit has 124 army supply. Ragnarok with so many Banelings. Oh my god. He's going up to 60-something Banelings here. Getting that alpha damage against the army. The Lings and Banes going forward. Some of them trapped up against the tank. Marines, though, and the Thor holding the back line. The Marauders soaking so much of the damage. And so far, a stronghold. The Muta's flying in again. The sensor tower will spot it. SCVs will protect the turret, and Ragnarok has dug too deep and too greedily. The Muta's cut down out of the sky. And while the Greater Spire, it looks like Ragnarok agrees that late-game tech is very important. He's getting both directions right now, the Greater Spire and the Lurker Den, but they're not here yet, and Spirit now has an opportunity. Another round of Banelings trying to roll through, but no juicy targets here to hit. The Muta's still looking dangerous. More Banelings rolling in. Juggles back the Thor. Doesn't really find a good target on the Mutas. More Zerglings. More Banelings, and just not enough. Not enough on the field at all, but he gets a base in the bottom right. So Spirit does strike back, maybe enough to keep Ragnarok from overrunning him at home, but the supply has plummeted. It's 178 to 133 now, as we move into past the 15-minute mark. Level 3 armor for Ragnarok completed. He's got so many bases. Ghosts, not a bad choice against Zerg in general. The Mutas have just defined this game. I think a smart choice from the start. And Spirit has not been able to contest them. Usually the way you contest them is by forcing them into a rough fight with your better ground army. But Spirit has not been able to force that fight. And now wow. Yeah, it's only +1 attack, but without building armor or anything. Whoa. A snipe takes out a Muta, as well as the missile turrets adding their damage. I do feel like Ragnarok is spending so much time microing the Mutas that he's kind of losing some of those opportunities to attack on the field. But he does have lurkers on the way. He does have all these bases. Spirit is not even maxed out yet again. And so far, he's holding the line. The ghost count grows. There's going to be lurkers. Ragnarok actually took that gold base. Lurker range, I believe, is already done. Getting adaptive talents for the speed and speed burrow. As the entire base is taken. Or the entire, not the entire base. The entire side of the map and then some. By Ragnarok. Spirit isn't going to get too many more chances. The snipes, though, knock the Mutas out of the sky. The Baneling count, only a mere 27. Still no adrenal glands from Ragnarok, but he has so many lurkers. Where are the ghosts? He's rolling in towards the planetary. The ghosts are required here. No scans on the lurkers. He might not have any. He's only got 3 orbitals. There's the scans. Gonna try to back off, but the lurkers have already moved up. The ghosts are too close. They're not gonna be able to get the snipes off. Muta's flying into support. Muta count dipped down to 7, but he's smoothly added more and more units in. Well, with those lurkers and just a whole bunch of lings. Ragnarok has transitioned his army into something a lot better for fighting on the field. So now, Spirit still with a lot of spirit, but he's about to get spirited away if he doesn't do something soon. He can't continue like this. The Muta's just trying to find any opportunity. More snipes. Front line of Zerglings, though, start to interrupt. Overseers at the front. Cloak Ghosts. No match. At least not yet. Another base. He's trying to get the snipes. In fact, the planetary draws enough fire that Spirit is able to turn it around. The Muta's in the main. Are they killing? They're about to kill the Ghost Academy, which could somewhat hamper Spirit's ghost production dreams here. The Ghost Academy will die to 5 Mutas, which he's already rebuilt one. He's just kind of letting the Mutas go in the main in favor of probably his best opportunity here. Oh, there's concussive shells. Wow. Pretty big upgrade to miss. Not as big as adrenal glands for the Zerglings, which it's hard to tell for Spirit, but the fact he's able to take these fights at all, you can attribute to it. Down goes the base. The Mutas, slowly but somewhat surely, making their way through the main. Just happen to get any damage to the infrastructure here. And, well, Ragnarok, it feels like he's been closing in for a while. But Spirit maintains enough army supply that it's still, like, Ragnarok can't risk losing a critical mass of units. He's not going to risk it. He's going to finally break this location. The entrenched bunker being ripped to shreds. Spirit again forced to retreat. The Mutas are still oh my god. Still 2 Mutas. A drop on the left. Actually getting something here. Almost kills a queen. Anything to keep Ragnarok busy. But it's going from bad and quickly transitioning into worse here. The last Muta will finally go down. 32 Mutas was the total. I doubt we'll see their like again. Ragnarok has lost 430 lings, 100 banelings. 29,000, 9,000 in resources. But now he's finally getting that +3 ranged attack. He's got +3 melee. Still no adrenal glands. But some dropper lords. Maybe he can just set it up to rip apart the production. But Spirit actually has an army supply lead, as he only has 60 SCVs, so he can physically build more army supply overall. This, I keep saying it's his chance here. But Ragnarok has let him rebuild to an extent. Let him is a bit of a strong word for what's happened here, but Ragnarok has not been able to lay down the killing blow as decisively as he might have liked. Tries to line up the snipes. Blinding clouds are good to start. Ghosts getting eviscerated as they get too close to the lurkers. Lurkers in between the production and the economy here. The banelings, he's just clicking on the buildings. Well, this is awkward. The lings and banes have taken up residence in the base, which means they're not sitting at the front. Spirit will have to fly his production away. Not the most comfortable position. The add-ons will be ripped apart. Anything that can't be uprooted and float away. He's going to just try to move forward instead of trying to save his main. He will try to break Ragnarok, and ideally, well, it's not going to be easy. There's the Vipers. Yanks the tanks into range. There's no detection. The lurkers will slice through them. Ragnarok has money in the bank. Marauders blasting through. And now Ragnarok. The army supply is still a bit dangerous, but it does feel like Spirit has been fighting an uphill battle both ways for most of this game. Even canceling some of the infestors in favor of corruptor. We're gonna be getting broodlords, infestors, Spirit just chasing him around the map, but Ragnarok not giving him any room to breathe. Corruptors, 10 of them. Spirit has maintained still an okay army. How many ghosts on the field? He's got 9 of them. Ragnarok just running him around. The production trying to rebuild. Looking like a Bronze League Heroes game a bit with this. Yanks a Marine, misses the ghost. No, he really wanted that Marine, okay? Spirit rebuilds some depots at the 3rd. A scrappy game indeed. Ragnarok closing. Eventually, you'll run out of spaces to hide behind. At least that's what Ragnarok is banking on. How is his supply so low? What is going on here? Well, he wants to make broodlords. Leaving changelings in his wake, but he's actually spirit supply. Like, he has the money. He's just gonna pay. He builds 8 broodlords, but 8 broodlords is not a deadly number. This is still a dangerous game. Ragnarok is actually out of gas, and he still doesn't have adrenal glands. I'm gonna keep coming back to it. And if he's going to be forced into mass Zergling, Spirit actually kind of like the bases he lost were the only ones he didn't need. He still has an orbital in the main here, but like he's completely mined out of his first 3 bases. So we actually just kind of amputated them as they were a liability. So it's still going to be incredibly difficult. But Spirit ain't dead yet. That is a very, that is a difficult Zerg army. Infestors, here to try to interrupt some of the ghosts. And, oh, looking for fungals. Doesn't have any chance at EMP. Zerg army kind of caught up on the high ground here. There's still a few infestors underneath. The lurkers will burrow. The broodlords are kind of putting a timer on things. There's another lurker in the top left base. The SCVs. And I think a Marine or 2 help take out the lurkers. Spirit is running out of bases to retreat to. It looks like he's gonna try to run away again. Oh no. The dropper lords that never happened. Spirit is running out of real estate. There's no more planetaries. There's no more units over here. The banelings rolling through. 18 more banes. Eventually, Ragnarok will fight this army. But it's on his terms, on his creep. And essentially is almost an afterthought here. The ghost will cloak. EMP on the infestors. Some snipes on the lurkers. Knocks them out, but more banelings. In fact, the banelings are trickling through the mined out base. The ghost will split. but the Terrans will be slaughtered. And Ragnarok, in an arduous, exhausting game, will finish off Spirit in game 1. Oh. No plot device. No sort of reinforcements. No one coming to save him. Spirit, just a few steps from turning it around. Seems like he just kept sliding back down. Ragnarok walking the tenuous path between losing the war of attrition and keeping map control. But he did it well enough. And that gets him the lead going into game 2. Looks like Spirit wants to go with a command center first. Yet again. A bold move. Let's see if it works out. Honestly, the command center first against most Zergs, like it's actually quite hard to punish. As unless you go for a pull first or even a quick roach warren, the command center is done by the time any Zerglings could really get across the map. So it makes it very difficult for any early aggression to really find purchase. The problem is, of course, like we saw last game, there's really no way for the Terran to pressure the Zerg. And Ragnarok took full advantage of that. As you literally don't even have a barracks for several minutes into the game. And then, if you replicate whatever Spirit was doing last game, you still don't have anything to deny the Overlord for like 5 minutes. We'll see if we got something different this time around. A neo-humanity, where we see our most differentest strategies. It's a real word. Okay. Source it. Just trust me, bro. Double orbital. Reaper on the way. Factory behind. Yeah, just revert to the production tab. Got nothing else? Production tab. I love the Muta usage, but the main weakness of Mutas... Well, Ragnarok played around the main weakness of Mutas. He did a great job of kind of dictating where and when Spirit could fight. And he never gave him an opportunity to really win one. It was a little painful to watch, to be honest. Ragnarok playing keep away until Spirit had nothing left to keep. Those Mutas getting, honestly, just leaving 5 Mutas slowly killing your main is probably the best case scenario. What? That's a 3-minute lair. What are you doing? Is this a Nidus? Does he want even faster Mutas? That's 4 gas. He's gonna go Mutas again. This absolute... Is Ragnar okay over here? What are you doing? I mean, this is probably one of the better ways to punish a command center first. Or play against it. Punish is maybe a bit of a strong word. Alright, we gotta use those words cromulently. But since Spirit will have essentially no anti-air and no real map presence, getting the Mutas as quick as zergingly possible is... Yeah, he's Muta rushing. I haven't seen a Spire this quick. It's been a while. Oh my. Well, the Reaper gets in. It doesn't see the lair, but it sees a conspicuously late third. So... Five barracks. Just a barracks explosion. Spirit, very, very macro Terran. Full Terran here. Very reminiscent of those Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm style. Just 3cc into Marine tank builds. clearly inspired there. But Ragnarok, also a bit of an old school player with the Muta-ling bling. I can't believe we're seeing Muta-ling bling not once, but twice in this series, which is 2 more times than I've seen it at high level TVZs in months now. Oh, he figured it out. He knows. Well, if he didn't figure it out, he has a good idea. Like, the third base, the scouting denial. Yeah, he's got his strong suspicions of Mutalist. There's almost no other reason to get a lair that quick or have a late third. Unless you're doing like a Nidus. But a Nidus, unlikely to work at this stage. And, yeah, Spirit, his strong suspicions may very well pay off. As yeah, he hasn't technically scouted the Spire, but he's the lack of information. Something in and of itself. The Mutas just headed straight across. Yeah, that command center will lift just in time. And the Mutas, well, starting to work on it. There should be enough Marines to ward them away. They do have stim. No, no combat shield. No combat shield. Oh no, the Banshee came back and flew right into the Mutas. Ooh, Ragnarok. He's setting up for the surround. If he can bait those... This is the most obvious bait. Okay. The Muta's flying around like, come on out. Come on out and play. Though, I'm not sure without Banelings. Yeah, Spirit, like, this is so suspicious. Hey, you wanna... I got some candy out here. The candy, of course, being Mutalist kills. Hop on in. Yeah, no, he's not falling for that one. The Hellions in position to deal with it. Baneling speed on the way. Ragnarok now adding on a ton of drones. The Mutas worked through a couple of the SCVs. I don't know what he expected with that command center, but Spirit once again has decided to avoid his Mutalist problems in favor of going across the map and trying to take a decisive engagement. Now, let's go! All right, boys. Jacked up and good to go. Well, Baneling speed is done, but 1-1 for the Marines. Good split off a creep. Textbook. Oh, the Banelings all die immediately. And Ragnarok came back to try to fight, but by the time the Mutalists got there, the Banelings had already been eliminated. And Spirit has the army supply right now, 88 to 52. Spirit may, with that single siege tank volley on the Banes, have been able to... well, he hasn't broken Ragnarok yet. But Ragnarok got greedy on the drones. He's got a 4th base here. He needs to hit with the Banes. And there's enough siege tanks. And no creep left. The Muta's gunned down, taken out of the sky. GG, GG, G, says Ragnarok. He's like, all right, okay, that was maybe a bit much. Maybe rushing, maybe only having Mutas is not enough. In this day and age, in this economy, even against the command center first, it's not quite there. So that sends us dramatically into game 3. Jimmy, please. Not game 1, game 3. As fun as Royal Blood was. It's impossible to find good help around here. All right, Grezvin. Another macro map from these 2 macro-heavy players. Spirit, are we going command center first again? Indeed, we are. As Ragnarok. Hatch first. Now, wait, that's not a hatch first. You had one job. Is it a pull first, or is it a hatch first? it's a pool first. So this time around, switching it up quite dramatically. And by quite dramatically, I mean just building a few Zerglings and getting speed a bit quicker. Maybe suspecting some Reaper aggression, some proxy Rex. You know what? I wouldn't rule it out, as Grezvin is a very macro-heavy map. Neo-Humanity is your timing attack map. Find your siege tank pushes, go through that bone trench, and try to knock out the Zerg. But Grezvin and Royal Blood are definitely more drawn out. But Ragnar's not going to find anything. Instead, it's a command center first. I got my suspicion. Spirit says, I have my build. Doing his best to channel innovation here. I see. I have my build and I'm sticking to it. All right, innovation. Well known for like 2, 3, 5 games in a row doing the same build. Sometimes failing 3 times in a row. He's like, no, this is my build today. But a lot of the time, his near-perfect machine-like execution would carry him through. Which, in this day and age, is hard to emulate. As innovation is back. He's been playing. He just, after his military service, he has yet to achieve or qualify for many of the major tournaments, including this one, unfortunately. But though I don't know, it is hard. Like, I can't imagine, like, any professional sport or any profession in general, like taking a year and a half, 2 years, where maybe you're still following it, maybe you're even still playing, as many of the players are still able to play. They just can't play in tournaments. But it is very hard to regain that edge. Only a few players have managed to pull it off. Beyond is a standout. Dark has yet to do his military service. I'm trying to think of current players at that top level. Maru hasn't. I think Beyond is the most successful of the players who did and have come back. And the exception kind of proves the rule, I feel, in that sense. But we're talking about Spirit. I was like, how did we get here? Oh yeah, innovation. Something canceled into the Baneling Nest. Be an Evo chamber attempted. And again, the Overlord just chilling, hanging out, as it does. That's like most of what it does. That's most of its life, actually. Bit of a loiterer. Reaper just taken out, but poking and prodding. A lair on the way. Very quick layers from Ragnarok. Is it? No. Yes. Yes. Maybe. I'm leaning to yes. Okay. And if you've been following along, and you haven't just zoned out like I have at my commentary, you'll know. But it looks like 3 CCs in a row and 3 games in a row will get Mutas to contest them. I'm quite confident. 6 gases on the way. Double NG Bay for Spirit. I don't actually think that's a wall off there, the natural awkwardly. 10 more drones. Few more wrecks. Where is it? No, he has 400 gas. He just... There it is. Okay. No, he's not going Evo chamber. Don't lie to me right now. Stem is done. We got... Is that 2 cloaked banshees? But 3 quick... Get off my creep! Somehow Ragnarok perfectly split his damage. Did not kill either Banshee. Beautifully done. Let him get away. Typical stormtroopers. Make them think we were chasing them. +1 melee, +1 carapace. Spirit does have quite an advantage. I love how he sets up the bunkers up against this. Just funneling Zerglings. It's not... It's still leaving space for repair. It just makes it hard for the Ling Bangs. He's got... It looks like, literal bunkers, I guess. As opposed to just some random building out there. But he's got, like, sandbag depots. And, this meandering trench. Oh, hey, boys, in the pipe. 5x5, am I right? Hey, Billy? Billy! Changeling spots it, but of course the Overlord dying also would spot it quite well. 10 Mutas on the way. 1-1 now done. Mutas headed north. Looking to intercept. Well, or just circumvent the army. And we could find ourselves very quickly in that awkward base tradey-ish scenario yet again. More bandling on the way. And the Mutas are fighting Marines, so several of them get cut down. The SCVs will escape. Siege Tank Canyon will be populated by its native creatures. The Siege Tank, of course. +1 completed. Overlord speed. Mutas trying to come in, but more and more of them being taken out. Siege Tank's really jammed in here in a location that threatens the base and also minimizes the potential for the Ling Bane. Not exactly the perfect spot for Siege Tanks, but near there. And is gonna try to kill the base. Does he go for the... He tried to go for the hatchery, but Ragnarok will save it at the last second. Beautiful splits by Spirit. But I fear it will be too little too late, as there's so many Lings and Banes. And he didn't get the hatch. He targeted it for a few moments. There's still one Baneling. Oh, no. He actually manages to pick up and escape with some of those units. That one Bane needs to be targeted. He gets it. Are the Marines enough? Well, the Mutas... Nope, the Marines stand their ground, and Ragnarok overextended. He ends up losing a lot more than he probably should have by the end of it. But at the end of the day, still gets enough done. That hatchery was transfused several times over. So it's out of, like, a few stray bullets won't take it out, but a concerted effort certainly will. Spirit gonna try to keep the aggression on, as he's got 2-2 on the way. Why not? He's able to hit some of the drones from the low ground. Ragnarok has 86 of them, so we can spare a few, but hatcheries are a bit more of a premium. 2-2 done. Reinforcements cut off by the Mutas. Alright. Oh, knocks a medevacs out of the sky. Or one medevac. The siege tank still in position. Reinforcements at the door here. The Zerglings trying to come through. Closes the depot in time. It looks like that is a wall. The entrenched bunker. Ooh, Spirit actually pulling back all the way to deal with this. Giving up that position. A whole lot more Mutas on the way. No infestation pit for Ragnarok. Full on Mutas is the choice. A risky one, but it's paid off before. Infestation pit. That tank. Oh, and the medevacs. Vulnerable here. Loses 2. Spirit can't really afford these losses. It's a very tenuous time. He's going to try Widow Mines for the first time. Widow Mine's quite good against the Lings and Lisk. Honestly, well, one of their main purposes to take out those groups of Mutas. Of course, their profession has expanded in scope significantly since their introduction. And, well, I gotta say, Spirit, you can tell he wants to micro those Marines. And if he gets into a scenario off a creep where he can just split Marines and fight all the way back, that's his comfort zone. But now with the M and T here on the field. Widowmine's being taken out. Drilling Claw's done, though, for the remainder. Sensor tower canceled. Just going to rebuild the legs and banes. Rolling into the third, but oh my god, look at the beauty of that bunker. The entrenched location helping out so much. Trying to get a Widowmine hit. Huge chunk, but still the Lings and Banes will overrun the Thor. Takes the brunt of those Banelings going down. And with the Widowmines, he just goes straight through the engineering base. But the Marines, unfortunately, no burrow here for Ragnarok. More will be dealt with. Banelings gunned down. 18 SCVs, not critical damage yet. Drop supply depot so we can keep the production going. And the Mutas, oh my god, those Marines in autumn colors right now. Need some medevacs, but they're out of energy. Or dead, which is, you know, permanently out of energy. Command center takes a seat in the center. Alright, looks like a Widowmine drop loading up. And now bleeding out some more SCVs. Ragnarok is keeping Spirit off balance. If only he could stabilize here. But the Mutas, Lings, and Banes have been running him around in circles. Spirit has dealt with it quite cost-effectively. But the War of Attrition is the one that currently Ragnarok is winning. He has all the bases pretty much on his side of the map. He's got 86 drones, and he keeps maxing out. Spirit is at 170 supply. Baneling's rolling in. The SCV's on the run. The Planetary. What a save! What a save! The Planetary will be saved at the last moment there. 36 SCVs, though. Another few dozen Zerglings. Somehow Spirit's supply is still pretty solid. He's actually in the army supply lead. 115 to 110. But the turrets keep getting taken out by the Mutas. He'll lose 2 Mutas. But he frees up the main. There's more turrets. The second set of engineering bays could be taken out. No 3-3 at all. Baneling's trying to roll in. SCVs, though. Oh, no. That's a 64 SCVs in the last minute or so. No reprieve here whatsoever, as Ragnarok will not let up. He will not stop. And Spirit, so close, yet so far. Here comes the entire army. Everything. The Widowmines will burrow. Spirit has 20 more army supply. So, there is a real dream here. 37 Banelings producing, except the Marines can't heal. So many of them. It's just half an HP of army. The Zerglings will overrun and get absolutely crushed, his Spirit. Oh no. Ragnarok just a little bit better on this day. I really like how Spirit was playing, but it just wasn't enough to keep up with Ragnarok. Ragnarok finishing out that game at 636 average APM. Playing the highest speed, highest attrition Zerg strategy. And, well, he made it look pretty solid. So hopefully you enjoyed a bit of a scrappier series. I know we had Dark versus Maru, but Spirit versus Ragnarok showed us some very different styles. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Thank you to World Team League and Masters Coliseum. You got the means of motivation. Make sure to check out Patreon, YouTube membership, all those exciting things. Either way, thank you for watching. Good luck, have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.